On Larry King Now, the one, the only Vanessa Williams.
I moved back home 25 years ago to raise my family back in Westchester, and when I look back, I know that I made the right decision.
You were the first black woman to be Miss America.
1983.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was there a downside to being first?
Of course. The downside is you get the brunt of all the anger. Me being Miss America overnight, you know, I had death threats being sent to my house because of my color. It made me the fighter and the survivor that I am. I live actually in the same hometown that I grew up in. Chappaqua is where I live, but the next town over is Millwood.
You see the Clintons in Chappaqua?
I do. I see them at the Starbucks, I see them at the deli, their little French restaurant. They just march in our Memorial Day parade, and people love them.
Plus, tell me something people don't know about you.
I used to smoke pot in high school.
Yeah,
Didn't everybody?
I don't know. All next on Larry King Now. Our guest today on Larry King Now is a true Renaissance woman, award-winning actress, Grammy and Tony-nominated singer, acclaimed dancer, and New York Times best-selling author. It's Vanessa Williams. Vanessa stars in the new VH1 series Daytime Divas, about behind-the-scenes drama of a daytime talk show. Daytime Divas airs Mondays at 10, 9 Central on VH1 and has been a hit from the get-go. Was this inspired by my friend Star Jones' book?
Absolutely. Star had a heart surgery, and her doctor said, you're going to lose some brain cells. I want you to exercise your brain every day. So she started writing, and then she wrote what she knew, which was a behind-the-scenes of a fictitious talk show called The Lunch Hour. And it got picked up by, it was a bestseller, it got picked up by VH1. They held on to it for about 5 years. And she called me last February in my house as I'm cooking food. She said, listen, I got 10-episode guarantee. You were my first person that I had in my mind when I wrote this part. Please look at it, read the book. Here's the pilot. Tell me what you think.
So you're Barbara Walters.
I am well, her name is Maxine Robinson, and she was named after Max Robinson, who used to be at ABC News. He was the first black anchor, right?
Died.
Yes, yeah. So that was her kind of homage to him. So she always saw her as a woman of color.
And she denied that it's about The View.
Yes, she does.
But come on.
She writes what she knows. And almost everything in the book is either based on a case that she tried, an interview that she was a part of, or something that happened to someone around.
Did you like the script right away?
I thought it was pretty on the nose. I mean, knowing The View, knowing The Talk, and all these chat shows, you can pretty much see the archetypes. So I kind of knew who she was. I could see myself who she was fusing together, but I knew it was a matter of casting and direction and you know, good writing too.
Have you guested on those shows?
I just literally just came here from The Talk. I just co-hosted The Talk, and I've done The View several times. So I know the operation. I know how it works, which is great because I go in there knowing what it's like to be a guest, but also knowing what it's like to see the producers, you know, run a show. I've sat in the chair, in the makeup chair with Barbara Walters on my right and Joy Behar on my left. I know.
Me too. I've done them all.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it true that some real hosts of The View came on the show?
Yes, we do a little kind of remote where we have the panel come on in one of the episodes, yes.
You have often played kind of villainous characters. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Why? Do you like that? Well, they're more fun, aren't they?
They're more fun, but I guess it's typecasting. I started out, my first Broadway show was Kiss of the Spider Woman, where I played a very powerful, intoxicating chanteuse of the 1940s, and then the flip side was a very villainous Kiss of Death, which is the Spider Woman. So I think that was back in 1994. And then I've, you know, done the Christmas diva and a lot of diva, larger-than-life, very rapid-fire, strong women. I guess when people know that you can deliver that, they have you in mind.
Have you personally been called a diva?
Who, me?
What is a diva?
Well, what I think of is like Beverly Sills or Leontine Price, some diva on a stage singing a magnificent aria that was superb and it makes everyone leap to their feet, and that's like brava diva. That's my coming from an artist
That would
perspective.
be Bette Midler and Hello Dolly.
Exactly, exactly.
But it's got a connotation also of
being
10 bags going on a trip for 2 days.
Right, exactly. Being kind of bratty.
An entourage.
Yes, exactly, which is not me. I wish sometimes when I do have an entourage, I go, is this how I should be living? But I'm pretty low maintenance.
You were always like a regular girl, right?
I think so.
I always saw you.
Yeah, but my parents, forced me to. But that was, both my parents are teachers. We had chores. I was never called little princess. So me and my brother were raised in a very suburban, normal childhood. And,
in Buffalo?
No, in Westchester. I live actually in the same hometown that I grew up in. Chappaqua is where I live, but the next town over is Millwood, and that's where I grew up.
Chappaqua.
My mom lives next door to me, which is couldn't get any more.
You see the Clintons in Chappaqua?
I do. They're I see them at the Starbucks. I see them at the deli, at their little French restaurant. They just march in our Memorial Day parade, and people love them.
All right, the show premiered June 5th, got off to a great start. Is this another Ugly Betty?
If we get the fans the diehard fans of Ugly Betty, I would love it. This is the first time I've done a series for cable, so I know numbers are different, but it's also a different style. I'm like, my kids never watch regular live TV anymore.
I know,
everything's on their device, so they binge watch too. So the measure of success is completely different from my 7 years at ABC when I did 4 Ugly Betty and then 2 years of Desperate Housewives and 666 Park Avenue. This is a different kind of dynamic.
Are you a singer who acts or an actor who... What are you, Vanessa?
What am I?
What are you, Vixen?
I think I'm musical theater is my true love. So when I get on stage and get a chance to do it all together in front of a live audience, that's my base.
Our guest, the one and only Vanessa Williams. We're discussing her remarkable career after the break. Stay with us. My guest, a terrific talent, a wonderful gal, Vanessa Williams, with a ring that would signal ships. When you've had such a diverse career, you've done it all. Mm-hmm. What's left for you? You're happily married now? You've got 4 children?
I do. I'd like to start directing. Yeah, I think I've been behind the camera for a while, and I would love to. And I'm actually watching my daughter, she wants to go to film school. She's a senior this year in high school, and that's kind of her goal. And watching her and her brain soak it all in, and I saw it at a very young age from her. So I would love to kind of. And Debbie Allen was really the first female director that I got a chance to work under. Right. We did Stompin' at the Savoy. It was a CBS movie about the 1930s Savoy in Harlem, and we jitterbugged, and it was acting, but it was also dancing and so alive. And she every day would make us start doing jumping jacks. She just started the day with energy to make sure that everybody's ready for their game, and she was always one of my favorites.
Get better with age? Jobs get better?
Well, now I think it's fantastic. There's so many opportunities for women who are 50 plus, and I think that's also because of the new model for television. It's not just network. It's these 10 episodes of Hulu and Netflix and all. Exactly. Yeah.
What are you best known for, do you think?
It depends on my fan base, which is really interesting. I can go anywhere in the world, and I'm surprised. I just went to Cuba, and people recognized me, and I said, "From what?" And they said, "Oh, Baila Conmigo con Cheyenne," which was a ballroom dance movie that I did in '98 with Cheyenne, who's a big Latin star. So, and then somebody said The Odyssey. I go, The Odyssey, and I did that with Armand Asante for NBC as a kind of a TV movie, and they play it as part of the history classes in some of these schools. So some kids know me from The Odyssey, There's a
lot of spotlight on racism, Hollywood, sexism. You have any thoughts on it? Is it worse, better?
Well, I tend to think that it's better because there's more opportunities, there's more voices, there's more avenues for people to have their voices heard. So
you were the first black woman to be Miss America.
1983.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was there a downside to being first?
Of course. The downside is you get the brunt of all the anger and all the. I wrote a book with my mom because I needed not only to tell my story, but my mother to tell how she was protecting me. At 20 years old, I was a junior at Syracuse, and I won. I had no aspirations of ever being a beauty queen, but me being Miss America overnight, you know, I had death threats being sent to my house because of my color. Yeah.
And then you lost your crown.
Yeah, 10 months later. Yeah,
Because
it all went
what?
to hell. Yeah.
They took pictures of you?
Well, this was before, yeah, the year before. I'd taken some pictures from a photographer that I worked in his studio, and of course there was no release, and nobody was supposed to see them.
Pictures.
Yeah. So that was my dumbass move.
In a weird way, it made you.
It made me the person who I am, absolutely.
No, it made you. Because it made you. You were resilient.
Absolutely.
And you became doubly famous.
I think so.
Miss Americas are forgotten. Who was Miss America 3 years ago? From what state?
I don't know.
Very few.
Yeah.
Right?
But yeah, it made me the fighter and the survivor that I am.
Did you plan a career after that? Did you say, by God, I'm going to sing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to make it.
And nothing stopped me from hearing the no's and the curiosity, all those meetings, which I knew that it was just a curiosity meeting to get me in the room. I went through years of that. And it was recording that really allowed me to control my image, my music, and said, this is my song, this is my voice, and I can control it as opposed to waiting for a role.
What was your breakout move where Vanessa Williams, that part of Vanessa Williams, became yesterday?
Well, I think Save the Best for Last was such a huge, huge hit. It was six weeks on the number one of the charts, and that was, you know, and I'd had hits before, but it solidified me as not being a one-hit wonder. It's my second album, and I had a number of hits. And I think on Broadway, Kiss the Spider-Woman was really where I was taken seriously, because there's no tricks. You know, when you're on Broadway, it's your voice. There's no tricks and shenanigans.
Who were the male leads in that?
Howard McGillen played Molina, who was the and Brian Stokes Mitchell was the revolutionary. Yeah, and it was great.
Stokes, amazing
voice.
He's had.
Oh yeah, and he's continued.
He did Dracula, right?
Did he do Dracula?
I think he did.
Oh really?
Is there since you've had this master plan, you know where you're going. Did you have a career inspiration, someone you looked up to?
Many. I probably the first time that I wept or was brought to tears was meeting Lena Horne, because I mean, not only a beauty and a talent, but her strength and her struggle, and not being able to go in the front door and having to come through the kitchen. And those are the stories that I look and say that they paved the road for me to be able to come into the front door and have all those opportunities and freedoms be given to me as an actress and as a woman of color. Frank
Sinatra took Lena Horne to the Stork Club once, and they were a little embarrassed because they didn't serve blacks. Mm-hmm. So they made a D, said to Sinatra, Mr. Sinatra, we don't seem to have... Who made the reservation? Sinatra said, Lincoln. Up next, we're talking secret talent, celebrity crushes, and best advice with Vanessa Williams, plus some politics, too. We'll be right back. We're back with Vanessa Williams. She stars as the diva of the Daytime Divas talk show, the drama talk show based on the book. Airs Mondays at 10, 9 Central on VH1. We can't go through a day without talking about him. What do you think of our president?
About him. You know, just recently with the violence against a Republican baseball team that was about to play the Democrats tomorrow for charity, it's amazing how polarized the country is and how angry. It's maddening. It's maddening.
Are you disappointed with him on LGBT? Because originally he said he wouldn't bother him at all who goes to what bed.
Right. Are
you disappointed?
I think he... I don't know. I mean, I am very pro-LGBT, and it's kind of scary because there's not a lot of things that are said that have much merit or have any longevity in terms of what's true and what's not, what has merit and what doesn't when it comes out of his mouth, and it's frustrating. I tremble when I turn on the news because I like, now what's going to happen? Because it seems like every day. I've never watched cable news more than I ever have in my life because, I'm a little trepidatious because you never know what's going to happen. And I hope we're better than that. I hope, of course, a kumbaya movement, but I hope we can just govern and move ahead and stop the violence, for sure.
Okay, Vanessa, we play a little game of If You Only Knew.
Okay.
What's a secret talent you have?
A secret talent? It certainly is not accounting, because that's probably the last thing I'd love to do.
You don't have to have one.
Okay, yeah.
Childhood celebrity crush?
Oh, Michael Jackson, for sure. First grade, ABC album. I carved a little heart out of his over his picture. Yes, Michael.
Current celebrity crush?
Ooh, I am loving I'm watching Genius on Nat Geo about Albert Einstein's life.
And you're into
the
him?
one who plays the young Einstein is phenomenal. Yes.
Guilty pleasure?
Oh, massage. I don't know if that's guilty, but
that's not bad. Who would you trade places with for a day?
Maybe Oprah.
Strangest job you've ever had?
Let's see. I was one of those annoying telephone survey people that calls your house and reads from a paper about service. I work for a New York State Political Action Committee.
This about a candidate or an issue?
Exactly, in high school, summer job.
What's the best piece of advice you ever got?
No matter what happens in your life, it never changes who you are. So just know that and remember that.
What's the worst piece of advice? Don't go into...
Trust, yeah.
Trust photographers.
Exactly.
If you could be anonymous for a day, what would you do?
If I could be anonymous for the day, I would probably, if I was invisible, go to high school with my daughter and see what her day is really like.
Favorite vice?
Ooh,
Oh, say it.
I'd say cocktails. Cocktails, I try them all.
What people get wrong about you?
Probably that I am like high maintenance and don't do my own stuff, and I cook, I clean, I drive my kids to school.
Yeah, they look at you, maybe they think you're a diva.
Yes, yes.
Biggest perk of being a celebrity?
I would probably have to say reservations, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there something you long to believe to be true but realize wasn't?
It's that disappointment when you meet people that are
Look up to?
Yeah, you look up to, and then you see them treat people poorly. That kills me. Mm-hmm.
Tell me something people don't know about you. They can't see you cooking and driving.
No. I used to smoke pot in high school.
Yeah,
Didn't everybody?
I don't know. Vanessa is answering your social media questions in our final segment. Daytime Divas airs Mondays at 10 p.m., 9 Central on VH1. We'll be right back. We're back with Vanessa Williams. Daytime Divas airs Mondays at 10, 9 Central on VH1. She's its star. James Frazier, social media, wants to know when Eraser 2 is happening.
That was with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I doubt it. We had Arnold and James Caan, and I don't know where it would happen. I mean, I was erased and I was saved, so I don't know. They'd have to be somebody else, not including me.
Creedable, I'd love to hear how you prepared for and what your thoughts are on Dance With Me.
Again, this was our ballroom dance show. And we did this movie when ballroom, Dancing with the Stars was not on, so it was wonderful to learn a completely different language of dance. I'd grown up dancing modern and ballet, but to learn the rumba and the salsa and the cha-cha and the paso doble and the quick step were unbelievable. And to be able to teach them and then pretend that I was in a ballroom competition and, be good enough to have people believe in me, that was really great.
Sophia, 733-16323. Would you like to do a Desperate Housewives revival or reunion?
Oh, sure. If they asked me, I had a great time. I did seasons 7 and 8, and I loved all the girls. We all got along, and I played a role named Renee Perry, who was an ex-wife of a baseball player, and she had a lot of sass and a lot of humor, and I loved it.
Staff Lying PLZ wants to know what Elmo was like in person.
I did a movie called Elmo and Grouchland with Mandy Patinkin and, of course, Elmo. And Elmo lives in a box, and when you open the box, he's got covers on top of his eyes. And I remember my daughter was about 4 years old when I did a concert with Elmo, and they flipped open the box, and she was disturbed seriously.
Manny is some talent.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Kevin, yes. Absolutely.
You've always worked, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah.
I've been lucky. I mean, it's great being versatile, which is how I've maintained longevity.
Morella Maria I Pure, any new projects in the bag?
Well, hoping for season 2 of Daytime Divas, and I continue to do concerts. I mean, I'm about to do the Hollywood Bowl next month. We're doing Sondheim and Sondheim, which I did on Broadway in 2010, and we're doing an evening with Dudamel with the orchestra, but I think that's July 23rd.
Do you think Send in the Clowns?
No, Barbara Cook did, but Barbara's not going to be doing this, so I don't know who's doing Send in the Clowns.
You said last year you were working on an album about Broadway music.
I got to get to it. It's been there. I will do it. It's on my list of things to do and finding time to get back in the studio. But
Have you picked the songs and the shows?
Most of the songs are things that I sang when I was a musical theater major or did things in summer theater. So these are songs that have some personal.
All familiar?
Yeah, Never Will I Marry, a Junk Man. Songs that kind of made my career when nobody knew me.
You've been nominated for 9 Grammys.
Never won.
Do you go to them?
I haven't won anything.
Do you go to them?
Not unless I have, something that's up or been asked, but I haven't been in a while. No.
Will you be back on Broadway?
I would love to. There's a couple of things that I'm looking at, so I have to figure out when I'm doing the TV show whether I have enough time to actually do a Broadway run.
So you're happily married.
Yes.
Got 4 kids, grown, 1 graduating high school.
Yeah.
You got a hit show on VH1. Where would you say you are in the life of Vanessa Williams?
I'm pretty happy. I'm happy. I'm settled. I moved back home 25 years ago to raise my family back in Westchester, and when I look back, I know that I made the right decision because they went to the same high school that I did. They've got a familiar community that supports them, and as much as I work, I know that the community has their back.
Don't you travel a lot to do things?
I do. But when I'm home, I'm home. And people know that I look at my calendar and I say, this is a reunion, can't do that. I've got to sing at church here, can't do that. And they work around what's important to me.
Your husband's a teacher?
No, he's a finance businessman, but he's actually working at a private school now in terms of finance and operations. So he'll bring his business knowledge to private school. He's never done that before.
Near home?
Yes, but 20 minutes away. Yeah, he didn't want to commute in the city, so this is perfect for him.
So you're very domestic.
I am. I do. I am. I have my dogs. I love to walk them. I love my nest.
What happened to the sex symbol?
Well, I still wear the push-up bra and try to work out hard enough to maintain at 54.
You're a delight, Vanessa.
Thank you, Larry.
Great knowing you.
Thank you so much.
Great seeing you.
Thank you.
Vanessa Williams. She's a very special guest. Daytime Divas airs Mondays at 10 p.m., 9 Central on VH1. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and I'll see you next time.